Welcome back to our study of the book of Revelation. And we come in our study to chapter 18. Remember, these short discussions are really to encourage your faith and encourage that your hope is something real and you need to embrace it. Remember, the theme of the book of Revelation is the answer to the Lord's Prayer. When we pray, as Jesus told us to pray, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That's what the book of Revelation is all about. Jesus Christ bringing the gift of the kingdom the Father's giving to him, bringing to this earth, along with all of those who follow Christ and be part of that kingdom. Well, we come to chapter 18. And remember, like I told you last time, in chapter 17, basically, at the judgment of Christ, he first exposes the very one who's behind all the evil that's been produced, all the abomination, all the perversion. Paul calls him the God of this world, 2 Corinthians 4, verse 4. And that he is. You're not going crazy when you wonder, well, does evil just happen? No, it doesn't happen. It has a design. There's an intelligence behind it. And this intelligence causes people to be deceived. And even God at times will send a spirit of deception because people's hearts are so hard. That's what happened to Pharaoh with the book of Exodus. Well, here in chapter 17, this power, the Satan's who's behind all of this, is exposed. But now here in chapter 18, he's taken down. Judgment now. This is the judgment of Jesus Christ, of the devil himself. Verse 1 of chapter 18 says, And after these things I saw another angel coming down from heaven, having great authority, and the earth was illumined with his power and glory. And he cried out with a mighty word, saying, Fallen, fallen is Babylon the Great, and she has become a dwelling place of demons, and a prison of every unclean spirit, and prison of every unclean and hateful bird. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the passion of immorality, and the kings of the earth have committed acts of immorality. In other words, you go throughout the history and you see, has there ever been a government? Has there ever been human beings ruling over themselves in righteousness and godliness and honoring God, the Creator? No, you haven't. Like it says, Solomon says in Ecclesiastes 3, why would men think that they're gods? Because we are but cattle, he says, literally, because where we look for justice, that is our judicial system, it's bent. You never see perfect justice coming out of any human jurisdiction, organization that's supposed to be bringing judgment. Nor, he says, that they look towards righteousness and they see that bent. What government has ever produced constant righteousness? So man cannot rule himself. And yet Satan has basically deceived mankind and individuals to believe that they can. And so here, after being exposed in chapter 17, now it's going to be taken down. And you notice in verse 4, I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that you may not participate in her sins, that you may not receive her plagues. You see, there's going to be believers who will be alive through the tribulation and to the end. And if that be the case, then what you've got here is their call to come out from the world. Stop being deceived by the world so you don't come under this judgment. And then you see in verse 9, And the kings of the earth who committed acts of immorality and lived sensuously with her will weep and lament over her when they see the smoke of her burning. In other words, all of those who benefited out of evil, perversion. I mean, you think of child trade, you think of slavery, you think of all the drugs, all the activity that makes so much money for individuals and yet destroys so many lives. These ones who are making money, these ones who are, as he says in verse 15, the merchants of these things, well, when they find out that the power behind all of it is destroyed, Satan is judged, well, then that's when they begin to weep and wail because their gravy train is over. Verse 21, And a strong angel took up like a stone, like a giant millstone, and threw it into the sea, saying, Thus will be Babylon, the great city, be thrown down with violence, and will not be found any longer. So here you have in chapter 18 the actual judgment of Satan's power, his influence. So when you say Satan has been destroyed, that was declared at the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. But he's waiting for final judgment. It's almost like in the court of law, you've been condemned to death, but now you're on death row for a long time. Satan is on death row for a long time, and yet he will be judged and destroyed. His influence of the world will be taken away. Well, this is going to move us to this remarkable chapter 19. Jesus Christ returns. And we'll talk about it next time. God bless your study.